I found out about my girlfriend's abortion, but the truth behind it absolutely broke me. What do you think is the most painful thing in love? Being betrayed, the lies, or the raw truth about the third person? For me, it was none of that. What haunts me to this day is that I'll never get to see the child I almost never even knew existed, just because I wasn't good enough to be a father. I'm Alex, 25 years old. I came from a middle-class family and was always a huge disappointment to my parents. When I was younger, I was a real troublemaker, never really took learning seriously. While my friends were getting into top universities, I ended up going to trade school to become a mechanic. But it was through that path that I met Emma 2 years ago at a manufacturing plant. Emma was 23, came from a dirt-poor family, so she didn't have much of a chance for a proper education, and she started working there early in life. At first, it was just playful jokes and a little flirty between us, but before I knew it, we became inseparable. For the past few months, we were genuinely happy, but everything started to change after just one night. That night before the fate pushed me down, I was sitting alone on the porch, deep in the quiet, peaceful countryside, bathed in the silver glow of the moon. Honestly, it was the first time I felt like I could breathe after 2 exhausting days. I'd been back home for 2 days, taking care of my grandpa's funeral. I hadn't even had a second to call Emma. In the dead of night, I pulled out my phone, my fingers trembling as I dialed her number. On the other end, Emma's voice was faint, almost a whisper. Hearing her, I could clearly feel how tired she was, but she said nothing was wrong, just that she wanted to go to bed early. I figured she must be sick. I had no idea that was the very first sign of a tragedy. 2 days, just 2 days away, and when I got back, I uncovered a shocking secret that shattered my entire life. The next morning, before the sun even showed its face, I floored it straight back to the city. It was a long drive, but I sped like a maniac. My mind kept replaying Emma's faint voice from last night. Thinking about her, sick and alone in her small apartment with no one to take care of her, just twisted my gut. Poor thing. She didn't even say a word to me about it. She probably thought it would just make me worry. On the way to her place, I swung by our favorite spot and loaded up on all the food she loved most. Arms full, I pictured her surprise when she saw me back so early. She'd probably throw her arms around me and say, "You're back? I missed you like crazy," just like she always did. Just thinking about that made me feel happy inside. When I got to Emma's apartment, I hit the doorbell. One long ring, then another. It took a while, but finally the door cracked open. And what hit me square in the face was Emma standing there, looking like a ghost. She was so gaunt, pale, and strangely sickly. Her eyes were dark and sunken, and her frail shoulders trembled. She had this fragile, weak look I'd never seen on her before. It had only been 2 days, but it felt like she'd aged years. "Hey, why didn't you tell me you were sick? You look so pale," I blurted out, my heart pounding with worry, reaching out to touch her hand. "I'm back now." But completely contrary to my expectations and what I'd imagined, instead of looking happy, she frowned, her face rigid. Seeing my hand reach out, she pulled hers back, her voice sharp and even a little sarcastic. "Would you coming home earlier have cured me?" I froze, completely blindsided and confused. What kind of reaction was that? I'd never heard her speak in that tone before. It was so strange. Even though I felt like something was seriously off, I tried to shrug it off, telling myself she was probably just cranky from being so sick. Better to humor her than start an argument right then. I went into the room and laid out the food, trying to coax her to eat a little. She only managed a few bites, then just sat there, the spoon in hand, lost in thought. She truly looked lifeless. While she was zoned out, I started tidying up the room. The apartment was strangely messy, not like Emma at all. Empty food containers, clothes thrown everywhere. I bent down to check under the bed, just to see if anything was left. And then, a piece of paper silently appeared in my sight. I leaned down, my hand trembling as I reached for it. The moment I saw what was on it, my heart stopped. A terrible premonition instantly washed over me. No way! What I was holding in my hand was a sonogram result. Clear as day, it had Emma's name, her date of birth, the clinic's address, and a dizzying blur of other information that my brain couldn't even process. Like a punch to the gut, the only thing I could focus on in the white paper was the faint image in the report, a tiny sign of a life just beginning to form. But that wasn't all. I noticed something else. Right below the sonogram, there was another piece of paper, seemingly a small folded letter. My hand trembled as I opened it and quickly skimmed through. The handwriting was firm, not Emma's. I know this is hard for you, but I believe you made the right choice. Don't worry, I'll always be here to support you. We'll have a better future, free from that burden. My entire world crumbled in an instant. A baby in Emma's belly? A letter talking about Emma's burden with some other man. My head was buzzing. Just then, I heard a spoon clatter to the floor. When she saw what I was holding, Emma froze, dropping whatever was in her hand. Her eyes widened, filled with panic. Her face went completely bloodless, white as a sheet. But the weary, shaky demeanor from earlier vanished as she suddenly sprang up, charging at me. Like a cornered animal, she snatched the papers from my hand. You were pregnant?" My voice trembled, barely able to get the words out. "Is this why you're so worn out?" Emma denied it. She stammered, trying to make excuses, her eyes darting around as if searching for an escape. No, it's not that, Alex. You're misunderstanding." But how could she deny it? The evidence was right there, plain as day, in her hand. The sonogram and that damn letter. And then there was her pathetic, lifeless appearance. It was all as clear as crystal. After a suffocating silence that stretched on forever, with a thick and heavy feeling in the air, Emma finally collapsed, sobbing uncontrollably. And then she confessed that she had been pregnant, and that she had terminated the pregnancy just 2 days ago, right when I'd gone back to my hometown. I sank to the floor, my mind spinning like a tangled mess, my chest convulsed with a wrenching pain, threatening to explode. I couldn't believe what I was seeing, or what I had just heard. I couldn't think, couldn't comprehend what was happening. Why? Why would she do that? We loved each other. We might not have had everything figured out for the future, but if Emma was pregnant, I would have stepped up. I would have done anything. I was ready to marry her. A family, a child. That was something I'd always dreamed of deep down. But no, she unilaterally made a huge decision, a life-altering decision that should have belonged to both of us, yet she didn't say a single word to me. Emma had stolen my right to be a father. She had cruelly killed my child. Why? Why did Emma do this? That baby, my child, I'll never get to meet them. My entire world had completely fallen apart. Emma just sat there, crying and sobbing. Her shoulders shook uncontrollably, but I couldn't hear a sound. I stood there, frozen, my mind spinning. I just stared, whispering, "Why did you do it? Why did you kill our baby?" Hearing those words, Emma looked up, her eyes red and still streaming with tears, but her voice, it was cold, each word chilling as if carved from ice. "Look at us," she sobbed, but the sob sounded brutally accusatory, horrifyingly cruel. "We don't have a home. We have no savings. We live paycheck to paycheck with a factory job. What else do you want me to do? Do you think love is enough to raise a child?" As I heard every single word, my fists clenched. Every single word. It felt like someone had just kept on punching me straight in the face, then delivered another blow right to my chest. She was crying, but every word she spoke was like a dagger, twisting deep in my heart. Still, I wouldn't give up. I told her I knew we broke, and I knew about my past mistakes. But we were young, we had time. We could work hard and get through it together, build a happy future. Why did she choose such a cruel way out? And then, that damn sentence burst from Emma's mouth. Her voice sharp, she spat out each word. "That's your fault. Your fault for not being able to give me a better life. You can't give me a future, so how could you give that baby a future? I had to do that cruel thing. It's all because of you." I stood there, my guts twisting. A wave of humiliation, a feeling like a failure and a coward swept over my heart. The suppressed feeling was suffocating. I felt like a balloon inflated to its breaking point. I just wanted to scream, to break everything else to pieces. But no, there was one more thing I had to know. I took a deep breath, my voice low and heavy, and I spoke. "So what about that letter? What does it mean, Emma? Tell me who wrote that letter. What burden are they talking about? Was it the baby you just got rid of?" "Don't make things up," she immediately shrieked. "You can't deny the truth that you have nothing. You're a coward, you're a failure. You don't deserve to question me about anything." She just went on, her words sharp like direct punches to my face. I stood there, listening to every single word, every biting remark she uttered. And I realized one thing. I realized I had nothing left to say. I was completely speechless. Everything inside me just went numb with furious rage boiled up, mixed with an intense confusion. I looked at Emma. I looked at that tear-stained face with its cold voice, at the fake, resentful expression. I didn't recognize my Emma anymore. The woman I loved wasn't there. All that was left was a stranger trying to justify her disgusting actions by dumping all the blame on me. I didn't want to hear another word. I just wanted to escape this hell. I turned my back, and just like that, I walked away, leaving everything behind. I kept driving, just driving and driving, not even knowing where I was going. My feet moved, but my mind was blank, filled only with Emma's words, echoing, "It's your fault. You can't give me a future," along with that damned sonogram image. I needed something, a drink or anything that could help me forget this rotting feeling. I needed someone to tell me I wasn't crazy, and I needed them right now. My hand automatically dialed Jake's number. Jake was my best friend, someone I'd met when I first started working at the factory, all green and confused. That guy even worked at the same place as Emma, and for a while he had a massive crush on her too. But now, somehow, we were good friends. "Jake," I growled the moment he picked up, "I need a drink. Meet me at the old spot." Our usual dive bar was small and dimly lit. We sat across from each other. Jake looked at me, his eyes clearly worried. He didn't ask questions. He probably knew exactly what I needed, so he just handed me the bottle and filled my glass. I downed it, glass after glass. Then I started to tell him everything. About the sonogram, about Emma's abortion, about that letter from some guy. I told him, my voice shaking, sometimes even cracking. Jake listened in silence. I could see him squirming. When I finished, he looked at me, his eyes darting around, hesitating. It was like something was stuck in his throat. "Alex, look," Jake started, his eyes narrowed, looking awkward, his voice barely a whisper, like he was afraid someone might overhear. "There's something I wasn't going to tell you, but now you need to know." My heart clenched again. That scumbag Frank, Emma's floor supervisor, he's a real piece of trash, you know? married with kids, but he screws around with everyone. And lately, there's been talk that Emma, she's been seeing him." These words felt like another punch to my face. I tried to stay calm, but my hand automatically tightened around the glass. "What the hell are you saying?" "About a week ago, during lunch," Jake continued, his voice like he was reciting a report, "Frank's wife came to the factory. You won't believe it, but she found Emma and slapped her across the face. She was screaming, warning Emma to stay away from her husband. It was just the two of them, but I happened to walk by right then, so I saw everything. When Emma saw me, her face went white as a sheet. A bit later, she even ran up to me, said it was just a misunderstanding, just a crazy, jealous wife. Then she begged me not to tell you, said she couldn't live if I did. I'm sorry I kept this from you." My ears were ringing. Every word from Jake was like a clap of thunder. Frank's wife confronted and slapped Emma right there at the factory. And Emma? She begged Jake to keep it from me. That lying bitch. I felt like I had nothing left to regret in this world. The pain of losing my child, and now the news of Emma's affair and getting slapped for it, and then having my best friend cover for her too. Turns out I was the last to know everything. I was the biggest fool in this filthy play. But now, you probably know it all anyway, Jake sighed, looking straight into my eyes. I just wonder, Alex, that baby, was it even yours? Hearing that, I buried my head in my hands, clutching my head. My hand knocked the glass, spilling the amber liquid, staining the table. The background music in the bar suddenly turned fierce, but in my ears it inexorably sounded like the echoing question of an unanswered riddle. All that love was now just a tangled mess of lies and betrayal, and a question that haunted me to my very core. Was I even the father of that child, or was I crying for the child of some other scumbag? Damn it! I didn't sleep a wink that whole night. Jake's words just kept spinning in my head. Was that baby even yours? Damn it. I didn't know what hurt more, the thought that Emma might have cheated on me with that bastard boss, or the fact that she chose to go through that whole hell of pregnancy and abortion without me, without a single word. My mind raced. If that baby wasn't mine, then maybe I was saved from a future built on lies. A future I foolishly believed would be happy while Emma was screwing around and expecting me to raise another man's kid. But what if it was mine? If it was really my flesh and blood, then she cruelly stole my right to be a father forever. My right to know, to choose, was savagely ripped away by Emma. It was a painful double punch. I felt like an idiot, a fool who was brazenly deceived by believing her. But then rage started to boil. It wasn't passive suffering anymore. It was fire. Damn it, I couldn't just sit here and let her get away with it, not after everything she'd done. I had to do something. I had to know the truth. I couldn't accept this blind deception anymore. Emma had manipulated me with her tears and those rotten accusations. Did she think I was stupid? I needed to know the truth. I needed to find proof, undeniably proof, to confront her definitively. I redialed Jake's number. "Jake," I said, my voice firm, each word cutting through the air. "I need your help. You said Emma was cheating with Frank, right? I need proof. I need to know exactly what's going on between them." Jake hesitated. "Are you sure about this? This could get messy, Alex." "I'm damn sure, Jake," I cut him off. "This is the only way I'll find peace. The only way that bitch will face the truth. You're the only one I can trust right now. I'm begging you." He was silent for a moment. Then I heard him sigh. Maybe Jake was also feeling guilty about keeping that disgusting truth from me. "All right, man. For you, I'll do it." Jake got to work. scouting out all the hidden corners of the factory where Emma and Frank might meet, or any other spots they'd secretly hang out. He kept me updated constantly. Jake even managed to snap a few sneaky photos of the two of them. One time, Jake almost got caught by Frank while trying to get close enough to record their conversation. He managed to snag a short audio clip, though, where they mentioned their secret and even confirmation of the pregnancy. They called me a foolish idiot to get my heart broken over someone else's baby. Damn it! Why can they be heartless like that? I got all the evidence from Jake. Every single photo, every audio clip, every message. It was all crystal clear. I wasn't confused anymore. Instead, there was this chilling calm. I printed the photos, organized the messages. I was getting ready for the final confrontation. Emma, you just wait. I'm ending this game. That night, I didn't sleep a wink. I printed out all the photos Jake sent, organized the messages. I looked at them, each piece of evidence, and my heart burned. I knew the truth now, and it was time for those bastards to face it. They were going to pay. I wanted them to feel the humiliation of being exposed, just like Emma had tortured me. I made up my mind. No more private conversations. I was going to expose Emma in front of everyone. I picked the end of the shift, right at the factory entrance. That's when all the co-workers would be pouring out, and no one would miss this epic show. I wanted them to die of embarrassment. The next afternoon, Jake and I waited at the factory gate. My heart was pounding, not from fear, but from steely determination. I saw Emma and that scumbag Frank sneaking out from a hidden corner, thinking no one was watching. I walked straight toward them, step by step. Jake followed close behind me. "Emma," I said, my voice ice cold, devoid of any emotion. "We need to talk. Oh, and you too, Frank. Did you really think you could hide this forever?" Frank flinched, his face turning ashen as he tried to slip away. Emma just froze, her eyes wide with terror, like she'd seen a ghost. I didn't yell. There was no need. I pulled out the stack of photos and the printed messages I'd prepared. I held them up high, making sure both of them and everyone else around could see clearly. "This is what you've been doing behind my back," I said, my voice seething with anger, each word bitten off. Behind his wife's back, and behind the back of the child, the baby Emma ripped away from this world without a single word. Jake stepped up, standing right beside me, his voice just as furious. "I saw everything. I can't believe she did that to Alex." And then right on cue, a woman emerged from the crowd behind us, walking straight toward us. It was Sarah, Frank's wife. I was pretty surprised to see her. It seemed Jake had called her. She stood there, her eyes blazing with fury, staring directly at Emma and Frank. "So this is why my husband's been coming home late lately," Sarah shrieked, her voice echoing across the entire area. "And you, I warned you nicely once before, you homewrecker. Do you think this is fair to your man?" She pointed straight at my face, then spun to Emma. "Is that baby my husband's?" That question felt like a knife, twisting in my heart once again, but it sent Emma plummeting into the abyss. She completely collapsed. She couldn't deny another word. Her face went ashen, white as a sheet. All her lies, all her pretense completely shattered. She sank to the ground, trembling, and genuine tears finally started to fall. Not from remorse, but from utter humiliation, from the complete wreckage of her life. That scumbag Frank just froze, stammering, speechless. He tried to run, but Sarah blocked his way. He just hung his head like the coward he was. Around us, all the coworkers leaving for the day stopped dead in their tracks. Whispers and murmurs erupted. Curious, judging eyes bore down on Emma and Frank. They were completely exposed. Emma just kept trembling and wailing. That whole scene, damn it, it was like a play and she was the lead actress, and now the curtain had fallen on a pathetic finale. Emma didn't just lose me, she lost her dignity publicly. Everyone at that factory, from now on, would look at her with contempt. She'd face ostracism from her colleagues, and most likely she'd lose her job. Who'd want to keep a woman like that? She's completely isolated now. She destroyed everything with her own hands. As for me, even though it hurt to witness that raw truth, I felt a strange sense of relief. It was like a huge boulder had been lifted off my chest. I had the proof. I knew everything. I no longer had to torture myself with questions. Everything was crystal clear. And it made me feel strangely lighter. Still, it hurt more than I expected, seeing the woman I once loved in such a pathetic state. And though the baby wasn't mine, it's still a sad thing that they couldn't see the light for even a day. But at least I knew the truth. Emma's expression when she looked at me and realized everything was exposed, it haunts me. Not because I pitied her, but because I once loved that woman. "That's enough, Emma," I said, my voice cold and final. There was no emotion left in it. "You ended everything yourself." I had nothing left to say. Absolutely nothing. I turned my back and walked away, leaving Emma in her own wreckage. I didn't look back. After that, I found a new place to live. A small, empty apartment. But it was mine, free from Emma's shadow and her damn secrets. I started the healing process. Jake still checked in on me regularly, my best friend. He'd stop by sometimes, bring food, or just sit and drink with me in silence. Sometimes, silence is worth more than 1,000 words. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know if I'll ever trust anyone again. This scar will always be there, etched deep inside me. But I know one thing. I won't let this silence or anyone else define my life. I'll learn to forgive, not Emma, because what she did is unforgivable, but myself for being so blind. And I'll find the person I was before everything fell apart. No matter what, I'll live a full life, because I know there was a tiny life that never got the chance. Thank you for listening to today's story from the Guilty Notes channel. If this story resonated with you, please like, share this video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss other emotional real-life stories and valuable lessons. See you in the next video.